Welcome, everyone. Just take a deep breath and find your shoulder blades. We're gonna have a good time tonight. This is Dojo Worth Radio, by the way. Glad you made it. It's a full moon tonight. You gotta get your arugula on. Your arugula. Arugula is the favorite kind of salad for full moon wolves. Room tonight. You're going to hear from some folks, some of whom you've never met before, others are familiar voices that you welcome back. It's great to have you here. Welcome aboard Dojo Worth Saturday Night Ride. We'll be going live here in about 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Green room's gonna be hot. Who knows what's going on? "14 seconds. I agree, ML. Welcome to Dojo Worth. This is a beautiful Saturday. The green room is hot, and so am I, and so are you. Welcome, everyone, to a wonderful Saturday night ride. Is the room live? Can you guys hear me?
Woo! It is hot in here, James. I tell you, it is hot in this green room.
So take out all your clothes.
Sturgeon and arugula, so we're even a little bit hungry. We're kind of hungry now. Hi, James. Yeah, this full moon's amazing. I haven't peeked it yet, but I will when it comes above the horizon.
That's
Hi,
right.
everybody.
You
Hi.
can feel the magnetics of it right now with my face, right? You can feel the magnetic moon from a certain location. That's right.
Sonars.
That's the lovely Renee, who's been a little bit busy doing other things, so it's really great to have you back on board. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Gosh, it's a pleasure being back on board. I love the spontaneity and the passion that comes to this place, and just who knows what's going to happen, you know?
That's right.
It's a live ride. It's a live ride. Anything, we could have turbulence. We could go through a rainbow. I mean, who knows?
That's right. We could even have perturbulence, right? Because perturbulence would be if people become perturbed. And even that is a part of the fuel that makes this place go. And one of our newest co-pilots, who's frankly is ready for his own flying, by the way. And you should actually check out his channel sometime. Brad's been releasing some pretty good tunes lately. But Brad is here with us. How are you doing, Brad?
Oh, I'm doing great. Great to see everybody. Great to be up here. I tell you what, it is a lovely night out. Yeah. I particularly want to just say I prefer romaine to arugula, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, the romaine, you know, the romaines. What would the civilization be without the romaines, right?
So crunchy. I like crunchy romaine too.
That's right.
It'd be crunchier.
And there's that voice. This is our special guest, which we're going to talk about the word guest in a second, but I definitely want to bestow this. This is Mary Jo Collins, who's been on line just a few times, but I don't actually think a lot of us have really gotten a chance to get to know you. So thank you so much for stepping up and being in the hot seat tonight. How are you doing, Mary Jo?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here, and I'm excited to talk about this stuff with you guys.
That's right. And stuff, let's go ahead and unveil the topic. When I say topic, I'm gonna call it a destination. So where should we plug in the flight computer? What is the island topic that we are heading to this evening?
Yes, the topic is chiasmus or chiastic structure, and it's a lot more than just a literary device, in my opinion.
This
I
is
found this,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm sorry, I found this great quote, and it's the idea of chiasm, that is, every relation with being is simultaneously a taking and a being taken, the hold is held, it is inscribed and inscribed in the same being that it takes hold of. And that is Maurice Merleau-Ponty from his book, The Invisible, that is from Maurice Merleau-Ponty. And that the chiasm is like it's a chiastic structure in the Bible, and it's also used in like a very famous one is JFK. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country,
That's right.
which I think is particularly hypnotic. That sort of kind of puts people in a hypnotic state. They just think of JFK and JFK era. And it's also like in larger structures that are entire chapters and chapters of the Bible. So it's sort of like a weaving.
Excellent. I'm gonna. We have to pause because we have to get here, and we're already racing this far ahead. And the smoothest voice on the block today is here with us too. And I want to introduce her also. So I hope you don't mind, Mary Jo, but we're gonna
Oh, go ahead.
let's also say hello to Yesenia is in the house. So Yesenia, how are you? Are you there?
Yes, I am here. Thank you for having me. I am a newbie. I'm just scrubbing the deck, and hopefully I could put my 2 cents in later, but I'm very excited for what Mary Jo has to share with us.
Excellent. So Yesenia is swabbing, and that is fine by me. I tell you, there's been a lot of good things happen when you swab. Swab on, swab off. Right. This is the thing for
Deck
today.
is looking good, Captain.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's been a kind of a bumpy week. We do a lot of different things on Dojo Earth, one of which we haven't done as much of lately because, frankly, the weather's different. But sometimes we reach the perturbulence, and yesterday was a great day, I think, on that. We got to experience some really healthy vitriol, and I think it actually brings us together closer. I think it breeds the exact kind of atmosphere that we need to wander on and do fun things. And one of the fun things we're doing is this Saturday Night Ride. And the Saturday Night Ride is a little bit lighter. It's although we can dive into Dojo if we have to. Am I right? I will pull this airship over if that's what is needed, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, Saturday is our chance to kind of have some fun. Sort of act like a vocal band, so to speak. Kermit and his Mad Muppets or something would be the closest act to that. And yeah, that's sort of what we're going for here. And this topic is the perfect juicy burger to tap into, at least from my standpoint, because when I look at this phenomenon of chiasmus, I see it as, I think back to the Sotoro and the opera, the cross-stick puzzles of ancient Rome. The rotas and the sator is, this might cue you guys off, but sator or rotas is frontward and backwards. This isn't exactly chiasmus, but it's in the similar ballpark. But what is similar, what is the same, is that I think that chiasmus was necessary for the budding mind to remember and hold ideas and to convey them to others, which is why in archaic primitive Hebrew, chiasmus is such an important integral part of that language. It's broken down to even the very words themselves have a sort of mirror-like quality. And I've always taken this to mean this is the space between the notes that allows the brain to hold on to the flavor of the meaning of the word so it can sink in. So my standpoint is the chiasmus is a necessity, that we wouldn't have be here where we are today, and that the reason why so much typology is built into books, the Bible is just one of many, is because of this weaker memory that we emerged from. I'm not saying that's what we have to talk about, but those are my 2 cents.
Absolutely. I was thinking about that too. It's absolutely. Go ahead, Brad.
I was just going to say I definitely agree. I love the topic in general, and I think that that's the key of it is because all of these things are somewhat paradoxical, right? I mean, that's what's so beautiful about it, is because these are ideas that are aimed at sort of in between the binaries, and that's why they have to have this mirror principle about them, is because these things can't be conveyed logically in the on or off position, because you are aiming at something in between, which is why so many deep truths, I think, do seem paradoxical, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And chiasm is like chasm, and which is like the sacred space between us.
Yeah, the holder. Yeah, the place where the word can go. The thing that is imprinted, which in this case would be the brain or the memory or the memology of how we hold on to something. So you are telling something by framing it as a picture. And if you can give it a shadow or an opposite or a backwards, you are painting a deeper picture in the mind. And I think one of the biggest clues of this is abrahadabra, that so many of the ancient magic words are utilize this technique because they feel that the resonance forward and backwards, if it's the same, that it must be something that hits a higher note or is sort of an octave or an intersection. And if you could consider the placebic, what I consider all magic is placebic plasma, it would make sense that this would work, because like before, you and I talk about what rhymes are. We're like, we have a thing where we talk about poetry, or there's something called rap. But there was a time when that was the only way you could talk. It was the only way you could convey to someone else that you wanted them to even hear what you're saying, is you would have to say something that was catchy enough, something that had a viral enough tune so that you could be heard or misunderstood. And this is the science of bird calling, isn't it? This is the science of mating calls, of all the sounds and the calligraphy that's used to attract each other, that this realm requires that we behave beautifully in order to find symbiosis.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of beauty, something you hear a lot is beauty is symmetry. So given the topic, you look at symbols like the cross or the Star of David, those are chiasmic structures, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
So right. Yeah. In fact, the Chi-Rho is, that letter is the X basically. And the cross the same way. Yeah, absolutely. You've got the mirrored form of the meaning of that. And the mirror itself allows it to be seen. So much of this could be attributed to Egypt, because those dudes were all about the reflexive stuff. Like there's so many different rituals that I could point to that show you that they were looking at either the reflection of something or what would be on the other side of the stone within a certain temple, like on the other side of this wall. On this side of the wall, we're going to draw the mini skirt that's covering the phallus of the pharaoh. But then on the other side of the wall, we're going to draw the naked phallus of the pharaoh in the exact same place. Look, like they do that all the time. They do that all the time.
Are you saying that the folks just like drawing dicks? That's what you're saying, right?
Well, I don't know anyone who doesn't like drawing a good dick every now and then, because seriously, I was actually talking to Miguel Connor about this today. I'd actually told him, you know, if you picture 108 BC, right, there's a dude, he's probably in Pompeii. The walls are all clean then. Everything's all whitewashed and clean. The walls were back then in Rome. And the Senate did something. They said they're going to charge a tax for garbage pickup. And this guy, Postus Maximus, right, is like, he's mad. And he suddenly decides, I'm going to draw a flaccid penis on the wall and I'm going to label it the senator's name. And boom, like social media was born. The tagging of other users on Facebook was born. And we finally had an excuse to be able to communicate our violence, which in my mind, I think is the most important thing that would be necessary for a society to be created, is you're going to need a matrix where you can still convey violence towards each other without actually conveying violence. Am I right?
Yeah.
So all of the language, all of the lurid poetry is the expression of the angst, i.e. the emotional fields that we all have with each other. And I guess the chiasmus would just be one popular way of singing a song that others would find more addicting because it has the reflective nature to it.
So the drawing dicks on a wall is like made me think of seeing the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Like seeing the reflection. And some of the reflections are obviously really weird now because the age of Aquarius, and it's the man or the angel. So here we are, and we live in this crazy world. And if you're like going by the medium is the message, then and we're all looking at each other on TikToks and Instagrams. I just think that's fascinating.
It is. And you know, I had such a reaction to that aspect of social media when it first came online. I think I enjoyed it at first, but very quickly reacted in a pulling away from it way, and not recognizing it as you're talking about being the medium it is. And it's like it is a medium to go ahead.
It feels yucky sometimes. Like there's some
Right.
yuck, like that horrible pink color of Pepto-Bismol, which I think is funny because it's hard to digest. And there's that yucky pink color.
Because at first we're digesting, like I said, it's kind of like the first time we're seeing ourselves this raw, this quickly, because initially I think we post and it's just the reactions we get, but very quickly, if you engage on social media, you're looking at yourself. I don't care who you are, right? You're kind of judging your post on the likes
Yeah.
you get or the things you get.
And
I almost think
creating what you're looking, you create your algorithm for what you see. So it's just going to be a reflection.
and that's the chiasma we're talking about. That's it manifesting in sort of real time in front of us with our technology, because in the sense that the AI and our phones, like this has all given us a chance just to bring this mirror we're talking about closer. Whereas in ages past, all they had were chiasmic sayings and tellings to try and convey to someone this principle that we're talking about of the mirror. And I don't even think it's happening so fast that most people I don't think see it as that's what it is, this social media, this AI, and this technology as this chiasma, this mirror just coming closer and closer, where now it doesn't even have to be told in words anymore. It's becoming the reality in front of everyone's face.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of purging of even generational stuff because then you have to start thinking, why is this making me feel this yuck factor? If it's a mirror, then you have to start digging down on the inside.
And that's where I think I turned away from it for a minute. And I'll just say that I'm glad I got through that stage, because I would not be here talking to y'all right now if I hadn't got through the ick stage and realized, no, there's some positiveness in this mirror to pass that ick, which what we're always going to talk to. When you find your when you see yourself authentically in there, or you just accept yourself in these sort of ways, and you don't have to play.
What is the ick again?
The
Well,
ick is when you're awfully disgusted to the point of you are gonna lose interest in something. That's what, for me and my age group, that's what we call the ick. And to get into the social, for me, in my personal experience, I had a social media account when I was 8 years old. Like
wow. Wow.
socially, for instance, the cell phone for that came about when I was young. So everyone around me in my fifth grade class had an iPhone 3, while I had nothing. And speak about the the ostracization that I faced. Like growing up, it was pretty hard. I didn't get my first phone until I was 14 in high school, and at that point, my parents got me a Motorola while everyone is rocking like an iPhone 5, iPhone 6. So
Oh,
here I am with like a beeper while while everyone's rocking like the freshest
You know what that
technology.
is, Yesenia? No.
you had technology shame, Yesenia.
Exactly. It's always been so hard, even so for me to like get in front of a camera.
Yeah.
It's just hard because I wasn't the cool kid or the social media account with the most followers. Imagine being 16 and that's what most people cared about around you
Mhm.
still. How
Yeah.
many friends
Right.
you had on Facebook, how many followers you had on Instagram.
Yeah.
Are you, being provocative? So how does that tie in with, the paradox of like beauty? Because I feel like that's what social media for me growing up really affected, was the idea of beauty for
Yeah.
me at
And
least.
that's the ick. If I can add to that, that's what for me I'm feeling saying is the ick factor is like I see it. You see the performative nature. You see the that hollow side of it is to me anyway, James, the ick factor because
Okay.
it
Yeah.
at a certain point you're not doing it like I'm not doing it for the likes. It's like you generally get past that point and you're like, no, I what I think I genuinely want is real connection. But the first layer of social media is kind of like
Yeah.
does that
Yeah.
make sense? Yeah.
Maybe the ick is actually you getting to understand the hermetic purpose of it more because
Sure. Yeah.
I forget who there's a really wise fuck who once said society is not your friend. I wish I could remember who said that. Maybe someone in chat will look that up. But society is not your friend. And
Mhm.
the thing that's stopping you is your belief that society is good or that society is looking out for you or that society is your friend. And that I mean you could have an adversarial role to society if you were on a dichotomous diet, right, where you have to just interpret every fucking thing that I say as like a binary. but if you do not, you can see society as not your friend, as not an arbiter who's here to teach you, and still have a relationship with it, still love it. But see, you're loving
Yeah.
it more of like the skunk or the drunk raccoon who just found a case of beer. It's or the bear maybe is even a better example because it's you have a different relationship with it and you have different expectations about what to pull out of it. And maybe that gross hollow feeling that you see in that is you just seeing the energy, the egregore, for the very first time in a realistic light, and it's distasteful. And it's so distasteful, it makes you want to forget it. So then you're like, oh, I like social media again. It's okay, until you see a fucking post. And then for me, it's usually animal cruelty. I have a very low bar for what I consider animal cruelty, guys. A lot of you would call me a neurotic for this, but it's like there's very minor things that I consider animal cruelty and stuff. So
Oh,
so
me
I'm
too.
kind of weird,
Totally.
but it's like that's a big ick factor for me. If you're showing
Oh,
me a video of you rescuing some animal that's dramatically tied up in something and you've got a camera out, I want to fucking kill you. I want I want to fucking
yes.
find
Yeah.
you and kill you. And the fact that everyone is liking your post is just telling you to fucking do this again. There's an ick, right? Sorry,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just got really ick there. Sorry, I just like let me
I
back
was
out of
I
this.
was saying ick, like, yes, that's definitely ick. To me, that's just a whole other category. I was thinking more like So maybe it's like cringe. Like at first, when you're watching this performative stuff, you're feeling cringe
Yeah.
because it's starting to occur to you on the inside that you kind of want to be performative sometimes, and it's bringing that up, and you're having to see what that is, you know,
Yeah,
and that's an
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Because when you feel like you're making people cringe, and I know I do that all the time, I know that's most likely like, why, well, I could do that, but
yeah,
but I accept the cringe. I think that's where you kind of like go beyond where you've been prior to the level of cringe you're creating. But
yeah.
yeah, I know I
definitely.
make people uncomfortable, and that's, I'm going to stir something up. You got to use a stick.
Yeah.
That's right.
Definitely.
That's right. But then you can move on to like the peculiarity that James talks about,
Mm-hmm.
where you're like you start to see beauty, or it happened sort of in stages for me. And now, like when I come to dojo or whatever, I'm like, gosh, everybody here's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, like everybody here has really got their own personal like nature that's just so gorgeous to me.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah. I
know
agree.
that's a lot better of a stage to be in than
Yeah.
the
I
ick
second
guy.
that.
So
Yeah.
People who go ahead.
no, you go ahead, Brad. I just
Oh
broke the
no,
rule.
you go ahead,
I
sir.
just
No,
broke the
I'll go
rule.
ahead.
I just
I'll go
broke
ahead.
the rule.
I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll go.
I
No,
just
but
broke the
it's just
rule.
people.
We'll
It's
be
just
less polite
people.
going forward.
But I'm looking around the room, and that's just it. It's like I'm. It's so refreshing to be with people who are okay with themselves. Do you know what I'm saying? It makes me
Yeah.
okay with myself.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
contagious.
Yeah. That cringe is a palatable field, and there's certain things that I cringe a lot on when it comes to social media, certain behavior, certain things on the live stream that I do that I really cringe when I catch myself doing. I really, really cringe. And because
So
I'm in a live stream state, it's, you you find yourself in the cringe because you have to. I think it would only work if you feel forced, and I kind of feel forced in a way because it's like once I get out of the gate, I'm sort of like hanging, And you guys are experiencing that right now. Like you're so welcome to my hell, But like this is, to me, this is a hermetic mercy seat to be in a situation, to be in a spot like this. And this is
yes.
what the artist truly is. The artist is the alchemist that's pretending to be the artist so they can practice their alchemy under a forced exposure sort of relationship with this creature called society.
Yeah.
That's the chiasma of this particular talk. But you have to go through the cringe to get to the creation.
It's funny you say that because I was just thinking that same thing.
Literally, I
In
was
the
thinking it.
society itself would be the
That
chiasmus of
mirror.
us, right? Yeah, yeah. So your idea, like when I was writing my book, I didn't want the chiasmus because I just know what it's like to create. I was like, in my head, it was like, this is the greatest book ever. And the
And it's pretty fucking
universe
good.
is different. Well, thank you. But it's like, I enjoy that. This is why society isn't necessarily your friend, because I have a very hypocritical relationship with society, because I don't want it to see what I do, because it's gonna not think it's as enthusiastic as I am, and then at the same time, I am not able to leverage my enthusiasm unless I show it to people and feel validated in some way that I'm not crazy, or that I'm not hallucinating too much that is so different from where everyone else is hallucinating that I'm going to lose my ground, basically. And this truly is the artist journey. Most of us aren't even on that artist journey, and I think it's because people aren't drawing enough dicks on walls, to be honest. That if we
So
did have
James,
that, and we're building that, it's just taking a long time.
Well,
yeah.
it takes someone willing to draw a dick on the wall, as crude and crass as that is, and that's what we're talking about with the cringe, right? It's almost like, even with social media, the ones who were willing to put themselves out there to an extent that was cringy for everyone was still actually doing a service for us all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary Jo, you were going to say something.
I was
If
gonna
not,
say that
okay.
I really loved your book, and I've read two now. and I absolutely love both of them. But Black Eye Club, I read that one, and I had this feeling like I wanted to be protective, like, oh my gosh, this shouldn't fall into the right hands, and I don't want them to make
Oh,
some um, crappy movie or something out of it. And then I was like, no, no, I don't. Maybe he doesn't want me to have those feelings. Maybe, you want it like you
you
want it
want a
to
crappy
be.
production made of it, right, James?
Yeah,
You want an awesome,
it's such a beautiful thing to think about, you know? Like I
yeah,
don't know.
I
I've never
know.
really I don't honestly I I more protect the sanctity of the intimacy that I had with the idea that this is the greatest book ever. And it wasn't
Yeah.
that I needed it to be better than any other books, guys. When I say the greatest book ever, I'm more talking about my work. Like this is the greatest thing I've ever written, just to clarify. But
Yeah,
seriously,
totally.
I am in love with my work when I do it. If I'm doing
That,
my work properly, I am in love with it. I think this is so great. Then look at this. Look at this. This is so like that's just who I am, and that turns people off a lot. Of course, when people are like, "How dare you be so arrogant?" And
no, no, that's not
But
arrogant.
those are
It's
just the scared
obvious
people.
when
but
you read
see,
it how much you poured into it.
well, thank
It's
you. However, even that though, see, this is where the chiasmus is there. First of all, we could stop and just talk about how great my book is. I'm happy to do that. But honestly, I think it's even better that the bewilderment that I have the moment that I'm forced to present the virgin cake to the public and see what see what the critic does with it is the actual quantum of this space, of this alchemy. And ultimately, I end up feeling worse because I'm not sharing something. And typically, I won't share something because I understand how expensive it's going to be, or how it could be better, or all the other things that go into it too. So it's on my level, it's a very deep experience of back and forth with a dragon that's also, a fucking dragon. I'm like, it's a dragon and it's a fucking dragon. Like these are like the greatest and the worst thing that's ever happened in my den.
right.
Chiasma, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you do with it? And I want that flux. I actually,
Yeah.
I would feel, I don't think I'd survive without it. And society a lot of times wants the opposite of that,
Yeah.
the
Chiasm is chasm. So
yeah.
there's that. Yeah. So
It's kind of,
yeah, go ahead.
you were. No, you were. Well,
I was gonna say that I really wanted to, I started thinking about today how this chiasm, it's actually just an amazing thing. Like when, I'm here in the Bible Belt, and so I've heard so many people really try to start talking about the Word of God, like they really like to talk about the Word of God. And it's like, how can, I don't know. It's probably because my name is Mary Jo and I grew up in the South, but like it was my church experience was so disappointing. So when I started researching it as an adult from a place of spiritual instead of religion,
Right.
um, I really was fascinated with the structure because I'm like, holy cow, like if I could, this is like a spinning thing. Like the structure really makes a book become more dimensions. And so that's
yeah.
your angel right there and your angles.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like the spinny things going, or the angels in Ezekiel that have spinning parts and so
Mm-hmm.
many eyes. That's like, all of your lineages, that is the future, the past. And that's what we're in the age of Aquarius now. And so like it being in Pluto, from the collective, we're going to see this, we're going to have these ick feelings and the cringe. And I think it's just part of it.
Yeah.
Growing pains. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the growing pains. I honestly think that a lot of the religions and churches are going to go through in terms of what you're talking about with your experience. Mine was similar coming up through it in the Baptist church, and my reaction was to kind of walk away from it, but to come back and see it kind of in the way we're talking about now and understand that most people in the religions that they follow, and you realize this, they really don't understand on any level kind of what, like I don't think they would understand the depth we're trying to talk about in terms of chiasma, right? It's
Right.
like at that level, they just want the simple fix. And so for them, it's just, I said these words, I did this thing, and I'm done. And
Right.
to them, that's the entire process. And so they have no real understanding of even the things that they're even claiming to know. And
Absolutely not. No.
Well, I'd say
they react.
No, go ahead.
I just find that they react, like just recently I'm talking with a gentleman and he lights up because we're talking about the gospel of love. But when he starts talking about hell and I just check him for a minute and tell him that I don't necessarily agree with it in those terms, he got angry with me because he is so attached to his idea of hell and burning souls that that's what he was trying to prove to me. And it's kind of like, we're not even talking about the same thing anymore. We're now talking about something personally in you. But yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Well, I think all that is definitely like legit and valid. And I grew up in the South too, same town as Mary Jo. And I went through, I forget how much I've been through, and I encounter posts on Reddit or wherever else, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. People are like, they fucking hate Christianity or whatever. And it's like, I forget that all the time. I forget it all the time. And I used to be that. I used to hate it too. I used to be so proud of how atheistic I was.
Oh no, I'm not atheist.
I didn't
like,
say you were. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
know,
I'm just saying. I'm not trying to characterize you. I was just telling another
oh,
story.
I know.
No,
Yeah.
I was too. I went through those stages. Like I said, I had to turn away from everything. Yeah, go through the process. So,
But
Yeah.
in my mind, I think what really makes a religion is you have the ability to feel everything around this pole. Even like it rejects you, you reject it, and you come back and Mary's waiting right there. She's the same symbols, the same chapel, the same architecture, the same, all those things are still there. And the silence is really grounding, I think. And when you go into every church in every city in America is going to have a Catholic church somewhere that's going to have a statue outside that has lips and a face, and you can connect to that face. You can go to that place, go to that stone statue and connect to the fiber of that religion through that way, unless you fucking hate Christianity. If you hate Christianity, then you have to be in this fucking city is a fucking Catholic church, and it's a fucking beautiful. It's not even a beautiful Catholic church, is it? It's a fucking Catholic church, even though the spires are like incredibly beautiful, even though the architecture is incredibly beautiful, even though the lawn is impeccable, even though it's 3 a.m, your shoes are off, and all you had to do is hop over a little fence, and you're inside this shire in the middle of a fucking city. And you don't even understand that this is a magical fucking field, that a magical field has been placed around this altar the same way when you walk to the Capitol and you find a giant stone lion that's placed out in front of a bank. And because you don't hate the banks, because you're like, fucking banks, fucking insurance companies, you can connect to the lion, right? When I go to Food Lion, I'm like, fuck yeah, man, I get my food at fucking Food Lion because I'm the fucking lion, motherfuckers. This is my fucking lion. And see, I'm tapping into the archetype, but I can only tap into it if I have a beautiful relationship with the chiasmus around me, right? So in my mind, it makes no sense to hate Christianity because you can warp fucking Christianity the second you say you're a Christian. Like literally in the same sentence, you could say, I'm a Christian and I think Lucifer is cool as fuck. Boom. You just did it. Like, oh my God, what did you just do? You just changed the entire cosmology. And you're like, you're damn right you did. You're a plasmatologist, right? You're fucking here to do this.
One of my favorite dark sides of myself is that I'm like, I'm thinking that no one around me is like truly knowing Christianity. So like if they want to talk about Christianity, I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, look at my name. And I totally gnosis and you know what I mean? So I don't know. That's
I
kind
do.
of,
Well, that's why I was trying to say, I'm not trying, but I was going to say it earlier, but there's just, I don't want to talk too much and you guys are really doing great. So forgive me, but I wanted to interject earlier that when you find yourself with someone that you know has no idea what the fuck they're talking about, I think that is actually an opportunity to check yourself, to check your own sense of cosmology. Because honestly, this guy's fear of hell, Brad, is the first exposure. It's the first page. It's the far away, blurry view when he's just woken up and his eyes are still sleepy, right? And he's going to see it that way. And you're going to notice how much he is scared when you tell him you see it different. And when you are in the South, you are in numerous conversations where you catch yourself having to listen to someone tell you something about hell that you disagree with. And that when this has happened to you in the South now for 16 times in a row, you start to take it offensive because you have not given them their own power of cosmology and their own ability to understand a religion at an elementary, low octave level. Or maybe high octave is even a better word because it's a faster signal. It's a shorter bite. It's a spoonful, right? It's a sample. It's a piece of chicken on a toothpick in the mall. And that it's not really fair to say they don't understand or they don't get it. It's more fair to say this is the most that they can get, and this is what it tastes like at 3 hertz. This is what Christianity tastes like at this posture level.
So maybe bring some honey mustard next time.
Yeah, because I think that if to me, it's an exercise that unless you recognize it as an exercise, it's going to be taxing. And you're going to feel violated. And you're going to grow up saying this fucking town is forcing their fucking religion on me and blah, blah, blah. And until you stop losing calories over that and you start to realize, wait a minute, I want these people to have their own cosmology. But more importantly, I want to walk like the invisible man. I want to walk through this valley of Canaanites and hold my own religion and not tell soul, and listen to them proselytize in front of me and use that to practice my own coat of many colors and to become flawless because my cosmology is my own. And truly, I've been brought here to the South because of the alchemical hermetical door that I needed to walk through where I could prove that my cosmology could stand on its own. And the only place you could do that is surrounded by people that are like, you're going to hell because you didn't vote. You know? So this is all a spiritual matrix that's very important. All of these feelings, even if you're still on the side of hating Christianity, and I'll probably hate it again too if I need it. I mean, I don't feel like I will because I majored in religion. I'm not saying that means I know it, but it just shows you I've been fucking trying to decode God since I was 5, like hardcore, because I just got sick of no one else knowing and everyone freaking out when I'm started asking like really sharp, direct questions that kind of contradict certain things, you know? Right.
Pretty obvious questions sometimes. Too,
yeah,
right?
of course. And so I want to behave the way they do, which is that, or I want them to behave the way that I want to behave, which is that I want you to have a 5-year-old in the room that's like, you're like, oh my God, this is fucking Satan. What do we do with this kid? And what they really should have done is they should have taken me to a Jewish church. And I don't mean that because I'm Satan. I'm saying that seriously, all the questions I was asking is what any Jewish kid would ask. And there's like a conversation about it typically. It's like, what do you want to know? Yeah, can I play with myself today? And it's like, well, here's what the Mishnah says, and here's what the Shugana says, and here's what the Mishugana says. And you're going to go home not with a direct, here's the fucking law. You're going to go home with, here's what's going to get. Here's what's going to happen. If you spank, you will shank. If you lank, you will take. And you've got all this stuff, and it's not really, it's an exercise. It's not an answer. And ultimately, I think we need to understand that the people that are trying to exercise religion, they're not exercising. They just want to hold something and just practice. It's such a new thing for them.
Yeah, you talked about it in your book, Arc of Baphomet, when you spoke about Matthew's conviction, and you even had a live stream about it. Really opened my eyes, because at that point in time in my life, I was going to a mega church, and I feel like a mega church versus a church that has like very deliberate symbolism and architecture are very different. And I could just see that everybody was just addicted to conviction, to testimony, but allergic to opening a Bible and practicing their discernment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because that's a if you think about how tired people are, if you think about where most people's energy is, I remind you, 40% of most people's energy, life force, is being sent to the government in some way, like as much as 40%. So it shows you that people are taxed beyond belief, not just like, I don't mean taxed, I mean like personally, energetically taxed. Right. And so when Sunday comes, they're not really in a position to be like philosopher kings. That's fucking hard, you know?
Right.
So it makes sense that they want to tap in, they want to feel spiritual, and that's enough. Like that's more than enough for me. I'm even if you're going to pull some fucked up shit, you're going to start mutilating the genitals of your kids, even that I'm looking at and I'm going, this is fucking hard. But also, I don't want a fucking world where I'm taking your kids away, where people are going to take my kids away, right? Because of genetically, I don't have the same kind of rights. And what I find is that you start to challenge yourself on the fractal of morality, and it just sharpens your religion even more. And it's not about having a right answer. It's about the journey to figure that out, right? Through the punishment of self when you think you did the right thing, but you realize later you haven't. That's an important thing that happened to you, right?
It is.
Yes, it is.
It's when we talk about racism today, there is on TikTok, if you use the N-word at someone because you're mad over a parking space, you're going to lose your fucking job. Like, people are going to find where you work. They're going to shit on that CEO of that company until that entire corporation comes and fires your ass. This is a religion. This is the practicing of the same things that were happening back when we were when we finally decided we need to draw more dicks on the wall. When people finally were trying to express themselves, but realizing how expensive it was to develop their own cosmology versus just hiding beneath the shelter of someone else's. So the apocalypse is burning everyone's skin except for us. Because we're just like, oh, fucking God, it feels so good. It feels so good. And everyone's like, oh, my fucking eyes are on fire. And you're just like, man, welcome to the jungle, you know?
Okay, James, I have a question for you. Oh, I'm curious about what you think about this. First of all, I was thinking about how chiasm or is like chiral. I'm sorry, I'm getting the words mixed up. Chiral, like when you put your hands together, right?
Chiral.
If something is chiral, then it's symmetrical and it can't be superimposed. It's like, you know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm looking.
And the hands together is a chiasma, a physical chiasma, right? You're saying, Mary Jo?
Right, yeah. And so there's a word chiral, chiral, which describes chirality, like a mirroring.
I got you. Yeah. Like your hands are chiral, right? Because the left and the right, right? So they're symmetrical. They're symmetrically mirrored. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm with you now. Genetic guy. Okay. Yep.
All right. So think about swastikas, I mean,
sure.
I wasn't on there, but just like a swastika. So archaeologically, there's like swastikas everywhere. And sometimes if there's 2 of them, they can either be facing apart, or they can be or facing towards each other, facing right,
Hmm.
facing left, facing each other, or facing apart. So that's four different ways, almost like a code that it could be, and it's found in all of those combinations at somewhere around the world. And yeah,
And to me, it's another example, a clear example of how a symbol doesn't really belong, but people play this game of I own that symbol, right? So the reason the swastika has such a bad taste in most people's mouth now is because the most recent association is painted bad, but the symbol itself actually goes way deeper and is more ancient than that. So the same with any religion. And like we're
hmm
talking about Christianity, it's the idea that no group, like we were talking about Freemasonry the other day, they adopt symbols and kind of pretend that they belong to them. And then people on the outside kind of have to, like, they have to play this game where those symbols belong to them. And so it also
hmm
almost creates this place where you disassociate from a symbol and almost think at a subtle level that has something to do with it, but you disassociate from a symbol because you associate it with this group, this religion, this organization, and you then can no longer, like with the swastika, you cannot consider maybe deeper what we're talking about, the chiasmatic meanings and things, because your mind is being conditioned to say, oh, that's an evil symbol because
yeah,
people have used that symbol negatively.
right. They're just yes, they're just not going very deep with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you
hmm
know, all symbols are real estate, and the
Mm-hmm.
way to control it is to occupy it.
Right.
Like
And
growing up, in my childhood, the three major stations was Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network. And if you look at all three of them, their symbols are chiasmic. The
Ah.
slime for Nickelodeon, you split it in half. The mouse ears for Disney, you could split it in half.
hmm
Cartoon Network is black, white in
hmm
boxes.
hmm
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I always think the Nazi, right. And so the chiasmus stuff for the Nazi flag is that it's a front and a back of the flag. But like I'm talking about like ancient stones where they've inscribed two swastikas. And I think it's more powerful to see the two. But
You
like
mean to two on top of each other, right? Like the black.
no, they're like facing each other sometimes. Or like there's this standing stone in Ireland that's like I don't know, couple maybe 1,000 BC, and there's two swastikas, and they're both facing. I think they're both facing right. But I'm just curious as to why, like, why wouldn't everybody who inscribed two swastikas make them facing each other?
Using them for different reasons, perhaps. I mean, the symbology, the way you use
Yeah.
the
Well,
symbology
even
is,
like if you, I think I mentioned this the other day. Sorry for repeating it, but it's like really hits. I think if you were an extrovert, you might want your symbol to face the outside. But if you're an
mhm,
introvert, you might want the symbol to face the inside, but you're never consciously aware of that, right? Like you don't, it's not that you
Yeah.
consciously go, well, I'm an introvert, so I'm going to need you to put this Hamza hand upside down for me, right? So that when
Right.
I look down, I see it facing up. And this is so Tarot, right? The idea of something being inversed or reversed is kind of beautiful, really. It
Hmm.
contains those same meanings, you know. It's is it the Big Dipper or is it fucking Hitler? This is the
Right.
swastika. Is it the Black Sun or is it the patience that it takes to occupy the land and track the stars and to notice that the Big Dipper is showing you this giant fucking wheel and that you would only know that if you could occupy this land for a long time. And so the fatherland and that symbol, I don't think that they could have picked another symbol. I don't think that they
Yeah.
even consciously picked that symbol. I think that we're looking
Okay.
at a vibration, right, which shows itself
mhm.
in the fractal, and it looks like that. It has that shape to it, just like, man, Miami Vice. That's the shape of the fractal at that time, right? In the '80s, like Philip Michael Thomas and like Don Johnson, and that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. You know,
Yeah, I guess
you couldn't
so.
do it any other way.
And I may also interject that perhaps that we might not really even know the intended use of the Nazis for the symbol in themselves, because all we really know is what history has told us they meant by that symbol. But
Absolutely.
we don't. It's kind of like we can project what anyone may have used a symbol for, and I think that happens a lot of times as probably symbols have been used by a certain group. Then another group co-opts it and says, well, that group was using it in a negative way.
And to me, that's the key is the occupying of the symbol. And
right.
Man, I fucking hate that. I'm getting ready to defend Freemasonry, but
don't do it, James. Don't do it.
I don't know. I don't know if they actually ever were like, these symbols belong to us. I think that they drew them every day, that they built their buildings around them every day. And that it was us, the non-Freemasons, I should say, that said, you guys own that symbol. That symbol belongs to you. And the Freemasons are like, okay, you know. And guys, I'm going to go back on what I just said, because if you take the etymology of what Freemason means, this is the fucker that got free first. This is the guy that escaped feudalism first. This is the first guy that said, I don't have to fucking listen to you because I have a skill. He was so good at that skill that he was able to wander around as a free fucking man from city to city, place to place, because he had his reputation, he had his pride that preceded him, and people valued him coming. They made him the cornerstone maker of our church. He was a Vestal Virgin. If you think about it, he was a male Vestal Virgin because these guys had to be the ones that would come to bless the church. And they'd have to bless the church by being free fucking men, by being men that were not controllable, that were righteously above gluttony, above slavery. They were beyonders. And us hating them right now in a social context, this is not related to what happened Friday, because as I said before, I think that Pi is dealing with individuals in a town, that you're looking at a gang warfare town. Any kind of social structure has that. It's a little bit different.
Right.
Yeah.
But in this case, when you're looking at the symbols, when I finally came online with Lucifer, I realized, James, people are accusing you of being part of an elite group of people that act in the world in a purely karmic state, that will only interact with people who have a consensual relationship with them, and that bring their own light, and that dare to soar close to God. And I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh, that's me. I am those things.
Yes.
So why am I
Hating
so
on it.
terrified of that?
Offended.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And this is the Hermetic chiasmus. It never would have happened if society was my fucking friend. It never would have occurred, right?
Right.
So this is the perfect pumice. This compost heap we're in, right, is perfect. It is so ripe for this kind of growth. We have 33 people on board, and that
Wow.
is
Magic number.
pretty cool. I want all of us to just take a minute. We're going to just do a really quick palate cleanser, okay? Just take a little breath, and I want you to appreciate you all being here, and thank you for riding on the ship. I'm going to get some water myself. You're listening to Dojo Growth Radio. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Thank you so much for riding with us. listening to Dojo Earth Radio. I'm glad you're with us tonight. A lovely discussion about chiasmus, swastikas, drawing dicks on walls, and getting to know ourselves. If you haven't hit subscribe, this would be a great time. If you'd like to share the show, that would help tremendously. And if you want to come on board and join us sometime, check out our Patreon. You can join for free. Now let's get back to it. You guys there?
Yes, we are.
Hello.
Hello.
We're greening in here. I wanted to ask about the meter and the sing-songiness or poetry-esque chiasma.
Yeah, sing-song.
Connection. Because I remember a while ago we were talking about how we learned language from the birds.
Yeah, the Greek.
And how
meter.
is there a way, when you hear bird song, there must be a call and return, or even within the same bird song that you hear that type of meter, that type of pacing, and how that would draw us in, and that would naturally associate into as we learn to speak and develop our voice into something that's more memorable, more because you want it to kind of stick in your craw, right? And you want it to be like repetitive. So it just seems a really great way to memorize something or to teach something in that way, or to, you can even use it as a way to control people, if it would be more of a Pied Piper type of approach.
Yeah, in fact, you could say that the first thing that a bird needs to keep communicating is for another bird to repeat what they just said, because that would be the bird's acknowledgement, right? That there's a connection there. And if that means that birds have to have something built into their language where they repeat what was just said to each other in some way, sort of like an over or a Roger that, Cleveland, or whatever, that you and I have that built into our memology, into our chiasmus. It's sort of like an advanced version of the same octave, isn't it? The same fractal of the same idea of a kind of a, I see you, you see me. We're in this is called a coaxial connection. This one word, but it's not like a walkie-talkie connection where I say, hey, Renee, can you hear me? Click. And then I wait for you. And then you say yes or no, and then over, and then we can both talk simultaneously at the same time. So the early talking would have been a language that's a little bit more binary-ish, bi-canary. Let's call it canary-ish, right? A bi-canary-ish kind of language built on tweet, tweet. And then you would say tweet, tweet. And then you would go, oh, tweet, tweet. And then you would say tweet, tweet. Look at how much we just communicated, right? What we really said is, do you understand me? And you said, wait, do you understand me? And then I said, wait, you understand me? And then you said, wait, you understand me? But none of those words were conveyed, were they? But the resonance of the chiasmus, I think you really nailed it here, Renee. The resonance of the chiasmus is, in fact, showing you the symbiotic connection between, right? Mm-hmm. It's the string between the
even when you're trying
to
understand someone, if you're really you're looking them in the eyes, right? And this is the all-seeing eye. You're really trying to do you understand what I'm saying? So that's that reflection as well, as two people are emerging, trying to understand if they are on the same page. Mm-hmm. You really do kind of draw someone. And if your intention is I really want to understand you, do you understand me? And so that would be the same mirror back and forth too.
Tweet, tweet. That's right.
Yeah. You can feel it in your gut, like if someone understands you.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. And I think you probably would feel the boost in your cosmology, that your placebo, your rendered illusion would get a little bit crisper because you'd be gaining extra amperage into the same vision. Because you're agreeing to focus and create a world around the tweet, tweet by saying tweet, tweet. You are agreeing to give it your attention. And so therefore you are, which means you identify with the symbol. And that symbol is a sound. It's an acoustic pressure. It's so advanced that we can relate to a pressure, guys. I know I've said this before, but fuck, that is profound as fuck. That we literally can say that pressure is mine. that do 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 do. This pressure is mine. Do 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 do. Like all of us know whose probably that pressure is versus who says it's theirs. Then the whole time you're like, yeah, but then there's Freddie Mercury, and it's just oh no, you know. So, and all these are pressures that different people are spending billions of dollars fighting over, right? Like in court, through record deals, through all this stuff. Right. It's all just pockets of pressure, these little angel cups. This is kind of what I pictured when you mentioned that, Mary Jo, this idea of these little cups that collect reverence. And that reverence is just our limbic juice that we find intriguing because it hit the neurons that have never been hit before, which hits the novelty, which hits the dopamine, which gives you the jackpot, which makes you remember, which makes you want to have that experience again. And now we're addicted to the news.
Right.
Now we're addicted to whatever's fresh, right? Yeah. And we're addicted to being seen because of the chiasmus, right? Because of the cardinal canarial binary language that we evolved from to even understand communication. This is why in that episode about the Greeks, I said that I think the birds taught us fucking how to talk, not the other way around. They taught us that it was even possible because we were surrounded by bird brains that somehow could communicate information to each other about predators, about weather, about food, about, about anything. And this is profound because the intelligence is already there around us.
Yes. I love the Odin symbolism because he's got a wolf and a raven. Mm. And because the wolf and raven have a unique relationship, the ravens will tell them where stuff is, and they even play with each other. Have you not heard of that? The raven and the wolf?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah. And so I was thinking that this song that we developed for from the birds and just from language, that the chiasm, that structure, when it's read, or if you think about someone standing at the front of a church reading in Latin, they can be kind of monotone, and that could be comforting to a group of people who think the world is crazy. They're just in that da-da-da.
Oh, sure. And the Vulgate carries, it's more of a tone, right? Reading the Vulgate is a tone, right? It's a hypnotic. The incense is an important part of that too. If you what you're really doing is every Sabbath, because it's not necessarily Sunday, but every Sabbath is really just a limbic same bell being struck, right?
Yes.
So we smell incense and we play this song and we don't say these words, we say these sounds. We we mumble these sounds in this hall made out of stone. And the resonance is greater than anywhere else that they have it. And so the church builds itself.
Right.
The second you tap into this is why I think that if people are having a war still with Christianity, in my mind, the easiest way to get back into it is through paganism. And the paganism gets you into the Catholic Church at 3 a.m. when you're tripping balls on something, and then you have those experiences, and then you find that you can be a Christian again because you had a drug experience that brought you back into it. And I don't mean like, now I'm going to clean up my life. I mean that you discover your life is clean.
Yes.
You discover that your quest this whole time has been clean as fuck. That is the cleanest thing you've ever done is the seeking of this. And then you notice it's not that you come back to the church, is that you find that the fucking church has been inside your chest the whole time. Mm. You just didn't understand the symbology. This is why people hate Christianity, because those eggs are inside you. That sacred egg is inside of you, and it is hatching. And there is nothing more terrifying than discovering a fucking serpent inside your spine, wrapping itself around your sacrum. Mm-hmm. It's closer to you than you are, right?
That's right.
Of course it's going to be, it better be terrifying. If it's not terrifying, it's not the real thing.
No, beauty and terror go together.
That's right. Perfectly said. You're right. It's melt your face off.
Yeah.
It's,
And that's why I think song is the perfect conveyor of these things, even deeper than, say, maybe the chiasmic sayings themselves, which make me think like the monks chanting and things like this.
Yeah.
Because it's it is primal in the sense of, like you say, that I do agree. I think that we would learn from, like you said, if you hear the bird repeating a call to each other, the first thing you do is mimic that and realize, like you said, oh, we can communicate this way. And then the developmental language is almost the creation of hooks, you know, like in music, right? Because like the bird, you hear him singing, you're
exactly
like, well, if I can go tweet, tweet, okay, what can I do if I do tweet, 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 tweet?
Yep. The hook is the cup, isn't it? The hook, the song hook is the cup. It allows, it's the furniture that allows you to attach yourself to it. It's a thorn. It's a thorn in an otherwise smooth field. And that thorn is allowed to capture you. It's allowed to grab you by the skin and pull a little bit of you with it, which is why you feel attached to it. And you know what? You run through thorn fields. You found that this is the greatest thing you've ever experienced. And you take your clothes off and you run down the hill butt naked through the thorns. This is experience. This is what means let's go to fucking town. What's going to happen in town? I don't know, man. Probably going to get raped. Probably going to ingest some pus off a cow's ass or snort some kind of like nose pus from some Chinese lady we've never met before, or catch syphilis and it's going to burn like fuck when we pee. Should we go? And the answer is yeah, let's fucking do it, man. Let's do it. And we do because limbically we are addicted to this barbello, this ancient chemical addiction of being awake. To be addicted, to be stimulated is like, I think at the very core, so much at the core that we don't even want to admit how much of a slave we are to this feeling of just pulse, of just like really feeling the moment, really being there. I encourage everyone right now to take a moment to just find that spine, there's a deeper gear always in the room. It's always there. It's always lower. Like when Yesenia was finding her voice earlier, she's like, I'm looking for a radio voice. Radio voice, radio voice. All of these different octaves are not just different sounds. They are doorways into a different world where everyone will perceive you differently because you are perceiving yourself, right? All of these songs.
Sometimes I perceive myself as a Scottish knight.
That's right.
Good.
Yeah. This is the magic of what created theater, and more importantly, what made theater such an early adoption inside of a shitty ass town that had nothing. But they still had entertainment, you know, that was still such a crucial element. Before they even had plumbing, you could argue that had to be there.
I was about to ask because when you guys were talking about song and just the sound of like chiasmic sound, I was thinking of iambic pentameter and Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So right.
What shifted from it burns when I pee to now I want to wear wigs and makeup and speak in this prose that's so symmetrical. It sounds so good. It captivates villages.
Yeah.
What happened?
It's that same addiction to barbello, I think. This is the Gnostic concept of this. It's like before you even know who yourself is, you touch barbello. It's the first conceptual idea of the feminine because it's the first concept of mystery that you've ever experienced before. I realize that before you know something, you first would encounter that you are in a state of unknowingness. That all of a sudden you're like, wait, I'm aware that I'm not aware. I have an awareness of darkness is the the Gnostic concept of Barbello. I've been arguing in my mind that the Whore of Babylon is the same thing. It's inside of you, this desire to feel pulse, to feel something. It shows you the world in the same way a fish puckers its lips in a Mexican cave with no eyes. It's the only way it could see. The only way you can see is experience, right? Is a limbic pulse. And you were going to notice that this moving black smear, if we keep looking at this moving black smear for 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 years, we're going to be able to call it a river one day, but we have to really buckle down, guys. And we got to really, really look at the river. Don't look away. And that some of us were probably looked at the river and we got so mesmerized that we went offline and we were eaten by a wildebeest because we were mesmerized by the moving black smear that we never seen before. And I'm just describing the Nile. I'm just describing the fucking river.
Wow.
And that you're like, one day, there's probably an old caveman shaman right now that's just like, thank God someone finally saw me, because he had this vision that you're going to be able to see into this smear, man. You're going to be able to pull fish out of this magic zipper. And this zipper has fish inside of it. And people are like, what is a fish? What is this word fish? What do you mean? What are you talking about? And here we fucking are. And just like that, Brad, I think the reason why we don't sing yet is because we are afraid. And that the natural inclination for us is to be singing all the time. It's not necessarily what you would look like in the pop star sense, but in a flow state kind of a sense. A chanting meditation where the people that are talking to themselves are actually closer to who they're supposed to be than the ones who don't. Because they're talking to themselves in the room because they're feeling the sound that their song is allowed to enter in a society that's like, you're not going to do another musical, are you? Oh, God. Another musical? What? Oh, God, they're doing another number. They're doing it. Oh, God. It's a singing cat. Oh, my God. Look at that.
I think they're going to get by it when they realize that moving into that space, I think, is going to be sort of moving back away from words for a time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
More in touch
totally.
with. I know I told you, I used to play a game with my brother, and it was because we like to do the voices, and at first it was just the Monty Python sort of stuff like this, but it morphed into a game where at one point it just became nonsense that he'd turn to me and say, and immediately I just went, and we going through all different voices, but the point was we were just playing with and we were kind of communicating more with the emotion, with the way we moved and things like this.
Yeah.
And I I wonder if it becomes sort of a new language like that.
Yeah, I think that if you picture where we're going, just like we used to like be associated with patriarchies in Rome, right? Where like we lived under a certain house, which means we adopted certain, tenets like religions or beliefs or whatever. And so that we could, until we're ready to build our own, that language is maybe the same thing, Brad, which means that ultimately we're supposed to develop our own language and then we all become telepathic. This is a Lemurian view because we see what each other is emoting and we notice that it's actually a much clearer way to communicate, but only because we're not blocking our emotions anymore, only because we've drawn like trillions of more dicks on the wall. And we've made it so okay to draw dicks on the wall that now we can just read each other. That it's impossible for an imposter to walk into the room and be carrying trauma because everyone would fucking see it, because people aren't lying to themselves so much to where it becomes impossible to miss. So the song comes out of your pores even if you don't make a sound, and it already happens that way. You guys know this. You will meet someone and you will know, oh my goodness, this person's in a space. They are in a state, right? and you don't know exactly what conveys it. You'll guess and say the way they hold themselves or the way they said this and all that's true, but actually it's probably more smell. It's probably something much more primal that you're picking up on, and that you're giving yourself permission to see it consciously. That you're not afraid of all the consequences that happen if you're going to be full empath, right? It's like never go full retard. Society is saying never go full empath. And once we do, I think the Lemurian thing kicks in, Brad, and we are just emoting ourselves, and it's just clear. It's a lot more like Nell, like, oh, check by side, my check by my. Yeah, you know. And that's really more my solo groove anyway, is that, I mean, not that I wouldn't do this around people. I'm just saying that because I live alone, I notice that I do this a lot more. We had discussions not too long ago about talking to ourselves, and I was pretty quiet because I was like, these guys are fucking crazy. None of them are talking to themselves. What the fuck's wrong with this group? You know, not that everyone was that way, but it's like, I was looking at it more as like, wait, is it weird to talk to yourself? Because I thought it was weird not to talk to yourself.
So yeah, you guys don't? What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It's like you didn't realize
about those people that supposedly don't have an inner dialogue?
Yeah,
Heard about that.
I think I'm one of those sometimes, though, a lot of times. And I guess I only say that because I compare myself to what it used to be like. So my inner dialogue's a lot different. If it's there. Sometimes it's not there because I'm really busy. Like I'm just
right.
I'm so into. I was doing that today. I was really having trouble because I was reading about Cornelia, and I was just like, oh my God, this is fascinating. Cornelia didn't kill herself, and like six hours later, I'm just like, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh God, what am I doing? This has nothing to do with anything. Why are you reading all these things? So,
but but I think it's more like, I don't know what it's like to not be thinking of something. Like when you're awake, you're either you're thinking of something or you're talking to yourself. And I don't know, are these people saying that they have a moment where they're just, there's nothing going on? Because that doesn't sound possible.
I think you're more emitting at that point. You're not necessarily having an inner dialogue, but you're emitting an energy when you're there. So you don't necessarily have to have anything going on. Ideally, you're just in full being mode.
Yeah.
You're just I am.
Or maybe a dialogue, maybe the definition of dialogue in this sense really is just more conflict, like vocal conflict in the head.
Right.
And that we only notice that. So we're calling that the dialogue, because I have a lot of internal agreements where I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, this can be nice. Now we're going to do this. You think, so I have that a lot. But it used to be a long time ago, the dialogue was very loud, and it wasn't it was mostly just judgment, just wow, that would be, what would be the least stupid thing to do? And then I would listen to all the voices, and whichever one rebuked me the least, I would call the moral decision. It's the most selfish fucking way to live, by the way. To think that that's the way you're supposed to live, is... Anyway, go ahead, yes.
Sorry. What would you guys consider simulating yourself in the future? Like, for instance, thinking of an event that you're going to do tomorrow and you're playing the whole script in your head. What would that be?
I think it depends on how emotionally it feels. If you're having fun with it, then I think you're riding it like a surfboard and it's good. If you're freaking out about it or you're worrying about it, then you're venting, i.e. you're losing a lot of energy, and maybe you need that. So I think it's very complex in the sense of, and I think it's very complex, but emotionally it's very easy to see, and it's just about, how does it feel? Literally, how does it feel? And that's going to tell you so much more than anything else, I think.
I just want to make it to where my son wants me in his life for the rest of my life. And you know what I mean? So that's my chiasmus. I just,
Oh,
you know,
No, what do you
yeah.
mean by that? Like, how is that related to your son?
because I think that like whenever I have a crisis in my life and I'm like, what is the very best thing I could do? And that is to regulate my emotions and be centered.
Yes.
Because yeah, that affects everything around me, you know. So if I do that and be calm, then things will come more. And like I can tell that my weaving is where I want it. And
Yes.
that takes repetition. Like I had to learn how to do that all over again. And like when my son was younger, I mean, some of it was hard because he like just had all these insane sensitivities. And now I see that in a different way, of course. I mean, of course he does. But I just know that the prana economy and how emotions are, I
Hmm.
never want, he is so in tune to me that I just want to treat that as sacred so that because my parents didn't do that.
Right.
And I didn't always want to be around them. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you
So,
make, okay,
yeah, I'm just saying, I always hold that as my center, and then I'll let the weave unfold, you know?
yeah, totally.
That's,
And I was going to agree with you that me too. I try and when you say hold it as sacred, and with me, it's like the kids. I kind of try and move it even beyond that and treat like so. For example, just in my everyday, I'm with people all day, every day through work, through when I'm playing pickleball, tennis, and I try to see those interactions as sacred in terms of the sense of I mean the same way we feel about our kids and that closeness, you know what I'm saying, and
yeah.
we want to do it for them because of that love and to kind of pr even expand that to where just everybody I interact with every day, if I'm doing a good job of keeping myself centered, then
Hmm.
I I've got joy and abundance to share, and I love the energy of that. And like I said before,
And it's more authentic.
obviously it is, and not
Yeah,
everyone's going to want that, and that's fine too. But kind of in that place, it's not really even about how it's received anymore. And so, like with
exactly.
my children, I'm obviously, and I think I'm really starting to turn a corner here. And I don't know how they'll, the reaction to that, but that's the point. I don't attach to how I want them to react, but
Hmm.
I am going to be very clear in the energy that my joy that I'm giving to them. And you know, I if I'm taking it sacredly like that, that's all I can do. And I agree with you,
Right.
Mary Jo, about that.
And that's more than enough, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. We kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, in a good way. I mean this in a good way, but it's helpful when we live with others, especially if they're our children. I think like the pressure is on, and
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
pressure makes us behave better than we would behave alone.
Right.
And this is why society. I mean, this is across the board for everything, not just about this. And so society makes it harder to lie to yourself, but also makes it easier to lie to yourself. It really is a double edged sword. It's not your friend, right? But it is a very important factor when it comes to seeing yourself in the chiasmus that you have inside. Because ultimately, I think a good parent is someone who could be in a ventral state as often as possible, because that's ultimately the only thing they're teaching their children is how to be in a relaxed digestive state.
Exactly.
You know, that this is really the only lesson that you have. And I wasn't raised in a good digestive state. And
No, I
I
wasn't either.
I I have a very long uphill battle because it's just a default state that I have. I'm constantly having to relax myself. And I don't think I do it enough. I know I don't do it enough. I know that because I'd be more compassionate if I was. And when you have a child in the house, then you get to see and feel, oh, I could have been more compassionate, and it burns so much more. So it makes that posture become that much more possible. So ultimately we don't quite have enough self-respect to understand the benefit that we want to do that with ourselves. So we're kind of hijacking that in a beautiful way, using the other people in our lives as kind of a piggyback way to build our belief up until we learn to do such a thing. And I'm fine with this. I think that this is whatever it takes to get us standing up on our feet. There's no wrong way to do there, absolutely no wrong way to do it. So
it's a great practice. And with that, we have come to the end of this flight.
That's right.
Okay. Everyone.
Great flight, guys.
That was
fun.
Time has flown, has it not?
That's right.
Indeed.
Absolute pleasure, all of you. Thank you so much for riding with us. And Renee, thanks for co-piloting. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary Jo, for this topic. It's been really fun to participate and listen to again. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, good night, y'all. Hey, thanks for watching tonight. You guys enjoyed the ride. Make sure you grab all your belongings. Leave your seats in the upright position.
You said it yourself, this will not work if we are miles apart. Wake up alone, your fans are closed. Reach for something that you're not. Oh, you need to calm down, honey. You need to calm down. Just need to call